Dubai Smart Cities Forum, series number 7. We're very happy to have you all with us here. We have a distinguished list of speakers and commentators, and we look forward to an excellent debate afterwards on the topic, which is a key topic, an integral part of the future of smart cities, which is the future of mobile payments. We have experts in the field who are going to enrich the discussion and inform us quite well about the whole topic. I just want to note that we have audience outside this room. We have live streaming, and we are active on social media, and our hashtag is DSCF. And I wish everyone a wonderful morning. First, it gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce a lady who requires no introduction, Her Excellency, Dr. Aisha bin Bishr.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. في البداية نعزي دولة الإمارات قادة وشعبا على المصاب الجلل اللي مرينا فيه الأسبوع هذا في وفاة 45 روح باسلة، لكن الحياة تستمر وأبطال موجودين على الأرض سواء كانوا في اليمن أو في دولتنا. نرجع مرة ثانية للمنتدى. مثل ما تفضل البروفيسور رايد، اليوم عندنا الجلسة السابعة بعد 6 جلسات الحمد لله كانت ناجحة من منتديات دبي للمدن الذكية. رؤيتنا في دبي الذكية هي جعل دبي المدينة الأكثر سعادة في العالم. طبعاً أنا متأكدة اليوم معظمكم المتواجدين اليوم معانا أو اللي مستمعين على البث المباشر ردي عرفوا وش هي دبي الذكية. خلال السنة اللي فاتت الحمد لله الفرق الموجودة معانا اجتهدوا لوضع المفاهيم والإرشادات الخاصة بالمدن الذكية. تم التواصل مع العديد من الأطراف المعنية في هذه المبادرة، سواء كانت على مستوى القطاع الحكومي أو على مستوى القطاع الخاص، وكذلك الأفراد والمؤسسات التعليمية. في دبي الذكية احنا تبنى الابتكار التكنولوجي، نجعل هذه التجربة من أغنى التجارب الحياتية التي تمر على الإنسان. ترتكز مبادرة دبي الذكية على 4 ركائز مهمة، وهي الكفاءة والسلاسة والأمان وقوة التأثير. كذلك هناك 6 أبعاد تعتمد عليها مبادرة دبي الذكية في استراتيجيتها: بعد الاقتصاد الذكي، بعد الحياة الذكية، بعد البيئة الذكية، بعد التنقل الذكي، وبعد الحوكمة الذكية، وبعد الأفراد الأذكياء. في الجلسات السابقة للمنتدى وبالتعاون مع كلية محمد بن راشد للإدارة الحكومية حرصنا أن يكون هذا المنبر فرصة للتعرف على هذه المفاهيم وهذه الأبعاد والركائز باستضافة عدد كبير من الخبراء سواء كانوا المحليين أو العالميين. يمكن بعضكم اللي كانوا حاضرين هذه الجلسات شافوا ان احنا ناقشنا كثير من الامور، خلينا نقول التقنيه نوعا ما، البيانات الضخمه، البيانات المفتوحه، انترنت الاشياء. حبينا في هذه الجلسه نركز اكثر على بعض المفاهيم اللي هي معتمده على ركائزنا والابعاد بشكل اكبر: الكفاءه والسلاسه، وكذلك أهم بعد من الأبعاد اللي ركزت عليها مبادرة دبي الذكية وهو البعد الاقتصادي، البعد الاقتصاد الذكي. شو نعني بالاقتصاد الذكي؟ هو توفير الظروف الاقتصادية المبتكرة لتعطي دفعة لريادة الأعمال والتنافسية العالمية. نعرف اليوم الإخوان ما مقصرين في القطاع الاقتصادي بقيادة أخويه أبو خليفة سعادة سامي القمزي، حاطين زخم كبير في دعم ريادة الأعمال. لكن وماذا بعد هذه الخطط؟ اليوم احنا نتكلم عن عالم آخر، عالم ذكي. فماذا سنوفر لهم هذا رواد الأعمال؟ وكيف سنعزز تنافسية مدينة دبي ودولة الإمارات بشكل أكبر؟ مثل ما تعرفون، الكل يعرف اليوم مدينة دبي من أسرع الاقتصادات نمواً في العالم. وهذا يعزز دورها أنه يكون مركز للابتكار، مركز لريادة الأعمال، ومركز كذلك لمفاهيم التنافسية العالمية. ودبي الحمد لله ما بدت من اليوم، يمكن الكل يعرف أن دبي بدت خطواتها الأولى نحو التحول الإلكتروني والذكي منذ 1999 و2000 وصدور التقرير الأولي للبنية التحتية لإمارة دبي في تقنية المعلومات، ومن ثم الحكومة الإلكترونية اللي تحولت اليوم بعد مرور 15 سنة إلى الحكومة الذكية بكل نشاطاتها وفعالياتها وبرامجها الناجحة الحمد لله، وتميزها وتصدرها الكثير من التقارير الدولية كون أنها هي من أفضل الحكومات المتحولة نحو التحول الإلكتروني والذكي. كذلك كانت عندنا مبادرات كثيرة في القطاع الخاص مثل الإنترنت سيتي وغيرها اللي تقودها عدد كبير من المؤسسات في القطاع الخاص وقطاع الاتصالات مثل اتصالات ودو. في عام 2014 كثير من البنوك تبنت مشاريع أو مفهوم الحقيبة الذكية أو المحفظة الذكية. وين وصلنا فيها اليوم؟ شو التحفظات اللي احنا نشوفها اليوم؟ احنا كأفراد شو اللي مهتمين نعرفه عن هذه المحافظ؟ وكذلك شو دور اليوم القيادات في القطاع الاقتصادي لدعم هذه المبادرات؟ هل هناك سياسات أو إرشادات بإمكانهم أنهم يوفرونها للمعنيين في هذا القطاع؟ طبعا احنا كأفراد مهم بالنسبة لنا ان احنا نعرف ان هالخدمات اللي راح تقدم من خلال المحافظ الذكية في الموبايلات او في الهواتف المتحركة ان تكون سريعة وآمنة وسلسة وفعالة. الأمان والسرعة وايد مهمات بالنسبة للأفراد. فالشركات المعنية اليوم بهذه المحافظ شو ياسن يقدموا لنا؟ وكذلك هناك يمكن ملاحظة الكثير يعطينا إياها، ليش إحنا يوم نسافر برا نقدر نستخدم المحافظ الذكية بوجود بطاقاتنا اللي هي الانترناشنال، لكن الزوار اللي يجونا هني ما يقدرون يستخدمون هذه الخدمات سواء كانت الواي فاي أو غير الواي فاي أو غيرها باستخدام بطاقاتنا إحنا الانترناشنال. أتمنى كذلك الحضور يكون عندهم بعض الأسئلة اللي يسألونها اليوم المتحدثين ليثرون هذا النقاش. طبعا ما باخذ وقت أطول، احنا ملتزمين مع البروفيسور رايد ان احنا نلتزم مع الوقت، وابو خليفة بعد مستعد انه يلتزم معانا. الهدف انه نثري الحوار ونزيد معرفتكم وفي نفس الوقت ما نقطعكم كذلك من أشغالكم اليومية. شكرا إخواني ومرحبا فيكم مرة ثانية في المنتدى.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. Thank you very much. Of course, we are extremely proud at the Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government to partner with Dubai Smart Committee on this forum. This is, as we mentioned earlier, the 7th, and the forum has been extremely successful with quite a large gathering, large following from people and media in particular, as evidenced by the presence here today and the following later on. A comment on time, one of the things we've learned from this partnership with the Dubai Smart Committee and the Executive Office, of course, is to keep to time. You can't blame us when we don't in other events because we're academics, and academics are trained to not say anything that makes sense in a short amount of time. So we're learning new things, and I think that's positive for us. So thank you, Dr. Aisha. Today's session is going to be composed of, along the similar format we've had before, is going to be 2 speakers, and then each will have 20 minutes or less. And then after that, I'll invite both speakers to the stage, and we will have a panel discussion, and we look forward to comments from the audience, and I'm sure it will be quite engaging. It's a very important topic. We hope to learn today about many of the things that Dr. Aisha mentioned, drivers, enablers, barriers, how can mobile payments become an integral part of a smart city model, what are the policies, things that can be put in place to encourage people to use it. We do have people from the media here, and if you look at popular media over the last several months, the topic has been covered, mobile payments. But in some cases with mixed opinions as to the take-up. What percentage of people are actually using mobile payments? And there are different views on it. So we hope today to get the accurate picture of what's happening today and hopefully the future from our two excellent speakers. Only 2 weeks ago, the national newspaper had a headline in the business section which said, in the UAE, cash is still the king. And it's, might be debatable, but I think it's a nice position to start with. So we assume cash is still the king. How we change that? Of course, it is changing, but we can take that position for the sake of argument today, and I hope we can have a very good discussion. Okay, our first speaker today has many roles and has got lots of experience in Dubai and has played a major role on a number of fronts. Today, his main role, the hat he's wearing today, is as the Director General for the Department of Economic Development. And it gives me a great pleasure to welcome to the stage His Excellency, Mr. Sami Al-Qamzi.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مثل ما ذكرت الدكتورة عائشة، أول شيء نعزي أنفسنا. يعني ما أدري شو أقول في موضوع خلينا نقول القوات المسلحة والعمل اللي تقوم فيه لحماية خلينا نقول منجزات هذه الدولة والمنطقة. ما أدري أقدر أقول نعزي أنفسنا أو ناخذ العزاء في أرواح شهدائنا، ولكن يعني خلينا نكون صادقين مع أنفسنا، هناك شعور بالحزن والفخر مع بعض ممزوجين في ما يتعلق بالأحداث اللي تصير، ولكن كلنا يعني موضوع التلاحم اللي موجود في مجتمعنا كلنا يعني أعتقد واقفين وقفة واحدة بتوجه واحد تجاه الحفاظ على منجزات هذا الوطن. ونشكر بصراحة القوات المسلحة على الدور الكبير اللي تقوم فيه والعمل المقدر اللي تقوم فيه، والله إن شاء الله يوفقهم وينصرهم ويرحم شهدائنا إن شاء الله. بداية أول شيء أنا يسعدني ويشرفني إني أنا أكون متواجد معاكم هنا، يشرفني إني أنا أكون موجود أمام نخبة من خلينا نقول الخبراء ورواد العمل الحكومي ومجموعة من الشباب اللي أنا اشتغلت معاهم في فترات معينة، وفخور إني أنا اشتغلت معاهم، واليوم لي الشرف إني أنا أوقف أتكلم أمامهم بصراحة، رغم أن أحيانا يخالج شعور من الخجل أنك أنت واقف أمام مجموعة من الخبراء ومجموعة من الزملاء، مجموعة اللي هم يمتلكون أحيانا خبرات يمكن حتى أكبر منك في هذا المجال. طبعا تنفيذا لتوجيهات سيدي صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد نائب رئيس الدولة رئيس مجلس الوزراء حاكم دبي، في دعوته أو نظرته أو رؤيته الداعية إلى تحويل دبي إلى مدينة ذكية بحلول العام 2017. نعمل في حكومة دبي ومن خلال دائرة التنمية الاقتصادية جاهدين على تحقيق هذا الهدف من خلال السعي نحو التغيير لمستقبل أفضل لهذه الإمارة ولهذه الدولة، والعمل على جعلها بإذن الله منارة للمعرفة على مستوى المنطقة، على مستوى العالم العربي وعلى مستوى العالم بإذن الله، ومحاولتنا في نقلها وتحقيق رؤية سيدي صاحب السمو ونقلها إلى نوعية حياة جديدة لجميع السكان والزوار والمقيمين على أرض هذه المدينة والدولة الطيبة. أود أن أنوه في البداية أن الاقتصاد الذكي يختلف عن الاقتصاد التقليدي في عدة جوانب، أهمها أن الاقتصاد التقليدي مبني على الموارد المتوفرة والتي بات يمكن معظمها مستنفذ، في حين أن الاقتصاد الذكي مبني على المعرفة، مبني على الابتكار، مبني على الأفكار التي يمكن مشاركتها مع الغير بدون استنزاف. فضلا عن ذلك نجد أن الأدوات المستخدمة في الاقتصاد تعد تقليدية مقارنة بالاقتصاد الذكي، حيث أنه قابل للتجديد بصورة مستمرة، ويسهل علينا طبعا تطوير ونشر المعرفة والأفكار وأفضل الممارسات من خلال الاقتصاد الذكي. ونرى أن مسؤوليتنا في إيجاد البيئة المحفزة اللي تدعم تطوير الأفكار والمعرفة في دبي، إلى جانب أن احنا يجب أن ننتهج سياسة تمهد الطريق لتنفيذ أفضل الأفكار والتقنيات المبتكرة. تعد النماذج الاقتصادية التقليدية في متناول الجميع، بس في هذه الدولة في هذه الإمارة نسعى إلى تجاوز التقليدي. فمثلا المعرفة والأفكار تتدفق مثل أي سلعة أو منتج حسب الطلب المتزايد وحسب بيئة الأعمال الأكثر استيعاباً وبيئة الابتكار الأكثر ميولاً إلى الإبداع والاختراع. وسوق المعرفة والأفكار مثل أسواق السلع والخدمات، في مشترين، في بائعين يتفاوضون بينهم للوصول إلى سعر متبادل للمنفعة، ومن هنا أعتقد وجود أسواق للمعرفة والأفكار يعتبر ضرورة ملحة لاعتمادها وتنفيذها من قبل الأفراد والشركات والحكومات على حد سواء. يبنى الاقتصاد الذكي على الإنجازات التي حققناها حتى الآن، ونسعى إلى الجمع بين العناصر الناجحة لاقتصاد مبتكر وناجح وبنية تحتية ذات جودة عالية وأفراد مبدعين في الوقت اللي نعزز فيه التماسك الاجتماعي ورفاهية الحياة المعيشية للمجتمع. وحكومة دبي تعمل باستمرار على تحسين كفاءتها من خلال دمج الابتكار والإبداع في عملياتها وإدارتها، حيث شرعت الإمارة في مبادرة المدينة الذكية، ومن خلال تفعيل التكنولوجيا وتقنية المعلومات الحديثة في توفير الخدمات على مستوى القطاع الحكومي والخاص توفير الخدمات على مستوى القطاع الحكومي والخاص بمستوى يتناسب مع جودة الحياة المطلوب توفيرها. وأصبح عندنا هناك نمو متزايد في عدد المعاملات والإجراءات ونظم المعلومات الشاملة التي ممكن الوصول إليها من خلال شبكة الإنترنت، الأمر اللي يؤدي بدوره إلى تقليل تكلفة مزاولة الأعمال التجارية في دبي والمساهمة في رفع القدرة التنافسية وترتيب إمارة دبي في المؤشرات الدولية مثل تقرير مزاولة الأعمال أو تقرير المنتدى الاقتصادي العالمي. نعمل كذلك على تطوير اللوائح والضوابط في الصناعات القائمة على المعرفة بدلاً من الصناعات التقليدية، ونركز على تطوير بنية السوق بدلاً من تطوير المنتجات، ونسعى إلى تشجيع شركائنا على التعاون باستخدام الوسائل الإلكترونية في التواصل وتطوير البنية التحتية التنظيمية لبيئة الأعمال وخلق برامج إدارة معرفية بالإضافة إلى وضع تدابير جديدة في الأداء المؤسسي. ونعمل كذلك من خلال الاقتصاد الذكي على نشر ثقافة أفضل الممارسات المبنية على المعرفة لجميع الشركات من جميع الأحجام، وهذا أمر حيوي وشكل خاص في الشركات الصغيرة والمتوسطة اللي ترغب في تصدير سواء خدماتها أو منتجاتها للخارج، ولكن تطغى عليها العديد من المعايير والأنظمة التقنية في مختلف الأسواق. كذلك انعدام الثقة يمكن في المنصات الرقمية أو المعرفية الكافية بالاقتصاد الرقمي من أسباب يمكن عدم تقدم أعمال أصحاب المشاريع الصغيرة والمتوسطة، ومن هنا يجب علينا أن نساهم في زيادة برامج التوعية اللي تخفف تحديات هذه الشركة للاستفادة الكاملة من فرص التجارة الإلكترونية. تطور تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات له العديد من الجوانب الإيجابية. البطاقات الذكية أصبحت لها قيمة أساسية في حياتنا. تبني تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات يؤدي إلى تقليل النفقات الإدارية، تقليل تكلفة المخزون، تسريع عملية الإنتاج، تلبية احتياجات المستهلكين، بالإضافة إلى اعتماد وتطوير نظم المدفوعات الأكثر كفاءة والموثوق فيها على الصعيد المحلي والدولي. هناك تقنيات معروفة أصبحت موجودة لدينا مثل تقنيات الاتصال قريب المدى المعروفة بالNFC، لديها إمكانيات هائلة حيث أنها تعتبر من الوسائل الآمنة وتستخدم في كثير من الأمور المالية كالدفع وتحويل الأموال والشراء، وتمكن كذلك من نقل الملفات بصورة آمنة دون أن يتم خلينا نقول اختراقها بين طرفي تبادل المعلومات. هذه الكثير من الوسائل أنا أعتقد أصبحت جاهزة أو قريبة جدا من الاستخدام في مجتمعنا، ويجب التركيز عليها في المرحلة القادمة. طبعا نتيجة توفر العديد خلينا نقول ملايين الأجهزة الذكية اللي يمكن ما يتم استخدامها بشكل كافي. أكثر موضوع الاتصال يمكن الاتصال الاجتماعي واتصال كذا، اليوم أنا أعتقد لها وسائل استخدام أكثر فعالية يعتمد طبعا على ثقافة المجتمع وتطور الثقافة لدى المستهلكين وتطور الثقافة لدى الشركات في استخدام هذه التقنيات في المرحلة القادمة. أود أن أذكر هنا أن اتحاد المصارف في دولة الإمارات أقر يمكن مؤخرا مشروع المحفظة الذكية الإم-والت بروجكت، اللي شارك طبعا في تمويله أكثر من 18 مصرف في الدولة. نتوقع أن يتم إطلاقه قريبا بعد الحصول على موافقة المصرف المركزي. هذا المشروع يعتبر عنصر أساسي في دعم مبادرة الحكومة الذكية وتوفير الأساليب الأكثر كفاءة وشمولية للدفع وتحويل الأموال. هذا المشروع بيتيح للمستخدمين إمكانية الوصول لنظام الدفع باستخدام الهواتف الذكية والأجهزة الرقمية الأخرى والبيرسون تو بيرسون بيمنت والتعامل مع تجار التجزئة في نظام الشراء والقيام بالمدفوعات عبر جميع منافذ البيع وبرامج الولاء الخاصة بتجار التجزئة. حضورنا الكريم، قيمة المعرفة في الاقتصاد تأتي في تقاسمها مع الآخرين. وهذا التحدي اللي يجب أن نعمل عليه، حيث هناك بعض الشركات يمكن أو كثير من الشركات تقيد موضوع تقاسم المعرفة خوفا من الاستفادة التجارية من الأفكار الجديدة أو من المنافسين المحتملين. طبعا هذه الحجة ليست كافية، خصوصا في ظل حفظ حقوق الملكية الفكرية. أعتقد قوانين حفظ الحقوق الملكية الفكرية عندنا كافية للدرجة التي تحفظ حقوق هذه الشركات، ويجب أن نسعى في مسألة تبادل المعرفة بين القطاعات التجارية والقطاعات الاقتصادية في جميع الأحوال، ونوفر الحوافز للشركات للاستثمار أكثر في موضوع الابتكار. سعينا لتحقيق الاقتصاد الذكي ما لا نهاية، إنما في المرحلة هاي يعتبر يمكن بداية. نسعى طبعا من خلاله تحقيق السعادة المستدامة لسكان هذه الإمارة وسكان هذه الدولة، وهذا مثل ما ذكرت سابقا تجسيد لرؤية سيدي صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد. ويجب أن نسعى إلى تطوير الاقتصاد البشري وتطوير تبادل خططنا مع الاقتصاديات يمكن الناشئة الثانية من أجل تبادل المعرفة والوصول إلى أفضل الحلول في مسألة نشر أفضل الممارسات في موضوع اقتصاد المعرفة. شكرا جزيلا. أعتقد أن يعني يمكن السبيتش بسيطة وتو ذا بوينت. جزاكم الله خير.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. You've given us lots to think about, and I'm sure there will be lots of interest in the discussion later on. Thank you. Our second speaker for the day is the Head of Global Products and Solutions for the Middle East and Africa region at MasterCard. MasterCard is actually a leading company in the area of mobile payments, and we're very pleased to have Mr. Milan Goder with us to tell us more about it. So please welcome with me Mr. Milan Goder.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Milan Goder, and I would like to offer my condolences for the 45 UAE martyrs who died recently. Excuse me, can I have the slides which we sent? I will just use a couple of slides for illustration. And
They uploaded them. They should be here somewhere. This is the one. Isn't this the, yeah, this is it, right? I think this is what you...
yeah, perfect. Yeah. So thank you very much for inviting us here. As it was said, my name is Milan Goder, and I'm heading Global Payment and Solution, which includes emerging payment, mobile payment. I moved to Dubai last November. Before that, I was based in Europe, and I was leading the mobile and digital payment transformation and innovation for MasterCard in Europe. So I have a little bit of overview about the Middle East and Africa and the European region and the transformation going on there. What I would like to talk to you about in my session, and of course open for questions and interesting discussion afterwards, is how is mobile enable us to change the payment. I would like to highlight 3 things about what mobile enable, which are the 3 elements of mobiles which enables us to change the way we pay. The 3 major phenomena, 3 major things about mobile. One is that it's a window to a new world, a new life. Through its screen, we can access internet. That's one very, very important thing. The second, that in its physicality, it's always with us. It's always in our pocket. We know this statistic that 30% of the people even take it with them to the bed, and 40% takes it to the bathroom in the morning, and so on and so on. So it's always with us. The third very important thing, that it's a personal device. It's really ours. We design what applications we download, what photos we have. Since we have fingerprint reader, it's really us only who can use that. These 3 elements are very important for how it can enable payment. Why are those so important? that it opens a window, or it's a gate to a new digital world. That means that it's a gate to new merchants. Because through its little screen, we can access a lot of traditional or digital merchants and do shopping, commerce, research, feedback, social networking on the screen. The second is the physicality that is always with us. It enables us to use it as a payment device in the traditional world, in the physical shops where we go every day, and today we may use cash or we may use card. The third that is personal, that is really ours, and with a fingerprint or with other things, it's really only us who can use it, that makes it a safe alternative for cash or card. Let me give you a couple of examples how it's translated to everyday life. So that it's a window, it's a bridge between the digital world and the physical world. Let's compare these three elements with card or a computer or cash. So traditionally, we were talking about e-commerce, electronic commerce, because we used to do it in a desktop like this, in a personal computer. A personal computer, although opens a window to the internet, so to the digital world, but it's not always with us, because it can be heavy, although it's called personal computer, but it's not really always with us. Laptop maybe, but still we leave it in the office or we leave it at home. And the third element that is personal, although again it's called personal computer, but it's not really only ours. We may have it at home and our kids may use it, family may use it, or we have one in the office, one at home, so it's not really one device what is always with us. What about cards? So cards are good because they are always with us. So they open for payment in a physical world, but they are not a connected device. You cannot make payments so easily or automatically on the digital world. And they are personal, although, because we have a personal identification number, a PIN code to use it, but the card itself is not, we don't feel emotionally close to a card because it's not ours. The bank distributed it to thousands of people, the same kind of design, while the phone is really ours. Same with cash. Cash, although it's always with us, but it's neither personal because it's the same bill what everyone has, and it's not open to digital world. We cannot make a remote payment over the internet with cash. So these three things makes mobile a very special device for payment. But how is it changing our life? So payment is just a servant for commerce. Commerce is what is most important and the more important thing, and commerce is what started to change with digital, with connected devices, with connected people. As commerce is changing, the behavior, how we do our shopping is changing, payment need to adapt that, need to follow that, or need to be revolutionizing that, enabling that. How can it do that? How is commerce changing? So the way we do shopping in the physical world is already changing a lot. We do two kind of things. We either go to shops where we always used to buy things, like everyday payment, or we go to new places. We go for holiday, we need a new hotel, we don't know where we are going, we need information about that. Internet, and e-commerce, and digital connectivity enables us to change our behavior in both cases. In the physical world, already in some countries, like in the UK, 20% of the people go to a shop and they just check the products, and after they use their mobile phone to check where is it cheaper, where can they order it. This phenomenon is called showrooming, that you just use the traditional shops as to look for product, but you don't buy it there. So even in the physical world, mobile connectivity is changing the commerce. If it's changing the commerce, it needs to change the payment as well. While when we buy things what we don't know, we plan our holiday, we need a hotel, we need an airline, we need restaurants, we need certain services there. We don't know those places, so we need someone who we can trust. How was it 20 years ago before the internet? Before that, we used guidebooks. We bought a guidebook, what we trusted, and we read which are the recommended hotels, which are the recommended restaurants. We trusted that book because that was there for a decade, and we always used that, and our friends used that, and we trusted, like, for example, a Michelin-style restaurant will be a good restaurant. How is it done today? We trust the crowd of the internet. We go booking.com, we go TripAdvisor, we go certain pages where thousands and thousands of people are giving their feedback, and we trust this feedback, and we make our decision based on what others are saying, not based on what one person, an expert at Michelin guidebook, made a decision that this is the best restaurant. No, we trust thousands and thousands of other people, how they shop, and that influence our shopping behavior. We say, okay, we will pick that restaurant, that hotel. Once we pick that, we need a payment method as well. So connectivity is changing how we do our shopping, both in the physical world and in a remote or digital world as well. So payment needs to bring a solution for these situations. The digital world, what we used to call internet, but it's more than internet today, is getting into our everyday lives because it's so accessible with our phone. When we go to a shop, as I said, you can check the prices. Just a funny story from a recent, one of the weekends we spent here, and we went to Atlantis with my daughter, who was 2.5 years old, and she went to these big aquariums where there were this little fish in the aquarium, and she went there and she tried to enlarge it. So how the digital world and the digital device are easy to use and flowing into our physical world, that's amazing. And especially in the new generation, they don't need to, they learned parallel how the physical world works and how the digital works. I guess no one ever gets a training about how to use an application on a phone. You just download it because you heard, you read somewhere, a friend showed you a good application, you download it and you start to use it. But in the physical world, you still get training. I remember 20 years ago, the first DOS and Microsoft Windows, you get a training to use that. In the physical world, you always get training, like driving license, you get lengthy trainings to use the physical world. That's why the younger generation like the digital world, because it's easier and faster to learn. So how connectivity and connected mobiles and connected devices are changing our world and changing payment. So we talk about 3 generations on connected devices. We started something like 20, 30 years ago with PCs, personal computers, laptops, and so on. Nowadays, there are about 200 million PCs sold a year. The next generation was mobile phones. Started in the 1990s, really smartphone revolutionized that segment. It's a connected device from 2007 on. Nowadays, there are 2 billion mobile phones sold a year. 1.2, 1.3 of those are smartphones, and the share is getting higher. So 200 million versus 2 billion mobile phones. The third revolution, or the third generation of connected devices, are what is called the Internet of Things, where we are not talking about computers or mobile phones or iPads, but we are talking about the light bulbs, the cars, the refrigerators, everything which has electricity can be connected. The scale of the connected devices is will bring as much growth as mobile brought versus PCs. So it was 1 to 10 how many mobiles are sold versus how many PCs were sold, and we expect, or world expects, that there will be 1 to 10 multiple between the connected devices, Internet of Things versus mobile phones. You can see here a chart, which is a projection about that by 2020, there will be 50 billion connected devices, versus today, we only have like 10, 15 billion of connected devices. So it's an exponential growth how things will be connected to the internet and will communicate with each other. Today we talk about mobile, person communicates with person. Now we start to talk about person communicates with machine and machine communicates with a person. The future, the 2020 Internet of Things, when machine communicates with a machine. What does it mean in payment and commerce? So today, I make a shopping. When I go to a shop, buy something, I make a decision that I pay for that with an NFC way, or on the internet, I order something, I book a hotel, buy an airline ticket, a cinema ticket, or whatever. when a person gives order to a machine. The Internet of Things can mean that I give a long-standing order that my light bulb, when it runs off, then it can already send an order to the shop to come and replace it. Or my refrigerator can send an order to the shop down there to bring milk because I ran out of milk. Or my washing machine can send orders because it's connected when the washing powder runs out. So when machines are communicating because they make my life more convenient, but that means that all of these requires a payment facility. So the first big trend, what I was talking about, how commerce is changing in the physical world and the digital world. The second big trend, what I'm talking about, how the mobile payment world is changing. It will not be mobile payment anymore, or mobile payment will not mean anymore that it's a mobile phone, but mobile payment will mean it's a digital payment that I'm on the move and things are happening around me. Either I buy thing by a phone, or I buy thing by a behavior, or I buy thing because with my car I'm driving into a petrol station and my car is connected through the internet with the petrol station. So because I'm a registered customer, they see either that my phone arrived, my car arrived, my watch arrived, that I arrived, my personal devices arrived to the petrol station. So when I fill up my car, I don't need to pay, I don't need to make an action to pay, because by behaving, by going there and showing that it's me, these are all my personal devices, I arrived, I want to fill up my car, I paid. So how is payment changing when this all connected world? When we talk about how mobile payment started, mobile payment has very different meanings. The first mobile payment, an example for mobile payment where mobile is at the merchant side. When I still have a card, I go to a merchant and I hand over my card, put it in a device, a little reader, and I pay card to a mobile. There's still a physical transaction, there's still a PIN code, so it's just the first step. The second step, what His Excellency mentioned, is NFC technology. When I have a mobile and with a near-field communication, I interact with a reader. It's still a traditional reader, I mean a contactless reader, but a new phone, and I interact. Still a mobile, it's not connected, I mean there's no contact. It's near-field communication, but still traditional way in a shop. The third, when I don't even touch the thing, I mean Beam, for example, Beam Wallet is something like when you go to a shop, you need to get close to the cashier and you need to interact, but it's not anymore a contact transaction, less physicality in that. The next generation is like a Karim transaction. When you get to a taxi, you travel somewhere, you get off, your mobile is with you, but you don't interact, you don't touch, you don't put it in anywhere. Just by having it with you, you made a payment, you approved a payment, because you took a service and you made a payment. And the next generation, as I said, will be even without mobile phone. When you drive your car and you drive on the highway or you drive to a petrol station, and by the behavior, you make a transaction, you approve a transaction. So the next generation of connected devices will enable us to make transactions by approving it ahead, and every time when we make that purchase, we don't need a cumbersome PIN code or physicality. We don't need to hand over cash or card or a mobile phone. Just by behavior, we make a payment. So where are we now? And where are we now? And where is Dubai and UAE in this journey? So the good news, what I can say, that we are doing a MasterCard Mobile Payment Readiness Index around the world. We measure 34 countries, the more developed countries around the world, that where are they in this journey, in this development? How ready are you to adopt the new digital or mobile payment? And the good news is that UAE is number 7 on this list, ahead of Australia or UK or many other developed countries which we may admire that their commerce or payment are more advanced. So UAE is 7th. Why is it 7th? There are many great things in Dubai and in UAE what makes it number 7. First of all, the mobile penetration. Mobile penetration, as you probably all know, that it's way ahead of 100%. So it's shy of 200% what is the mobile penetration here. Everyone has almost 2 mobiles, and they are all connected or using it for many things already. There are already many mobile payment things. Mobile payment things, as I said, can be very different. So a Salik application or an MPay application or many applications enable you already to register a payment method and pay for certain things. You don't have, we don't have Apple Pay here, or we don't have some of the things but in other countries, but that, as I said, is just one kind of mobile payment. Mobile payment is a much broader thing than just paying with an iPhone in a shop. So what is MasterCard doing in this journey? How we want to get ready and help our clients, customers, governments to be more ready, to be able to make the next steps in this evolution. We used to be a card company. When I joined this firm 11 years ago, we used to sell cards. That's changed dramatically. How the mobile technology changed since 2007, MasterCard has changed as well. So just in the last 12 months, we invested in digital technology company, in big data company. So the first, one of the important firm we bought was CSAM. CSAM already 15 years ago, when the mobiles were not like this, but they were like much more old stylish, they already started to invest in mobile wallets, in mobile payment, in mobile technology. They were the #1 worldwide. In many countries, they serve top customers. So a couple of years ago, we first signed a strategic partnership with them, and later on, we acquired them fully, and now they are our mobile payment development shop, and we help governments, we help telcos, and we have banks to develop the state-of-the-art mobile wallet solutions. Just recently, we bought other big data companies. In the US, we bought APT, Applied Predictive Technology Company, with many techie people who are only crunching numbers and want to predict how commerce is changing, how a merchant should change its shop to increase the sales, to enable a better consumer experience. And we bought 5one in South Africa and headquartered in London, which is also helping merchants to do a better data analysis, to improve their loyalty program, to improve the shopping experience. As I said, payment can only be successful if commerce is successful. We need to improve commerce, merchants want to improve the shopping experience, and we just add payment to that. We integrate payment to that. The vision, what we have, that how is the best payment? The best payment, what is seamless, what you don't even realize. So what mobile enables us is the big shift in this area. How does a purchase, a shopping experience looks today? You go to a shop, you buy something, that's one action, and you go to another corner of the shop, and they are the checkout lines, and you spend some time queuing up and then paying. So it's 2 experiences in one. The same if you buy anything else. If you go by the metro or the tram, you go to a vending machine, you buy your ticket, or ticketing machine, you buy your ticket, and then you go and use the tram or the metro. So it's 2 experiences. Why it need to be 2 experiences? Because the payment, cash or card, was designed that you needed a machine, you needed a place where someone controlled what you bought, and then you pay. The vision is, and the example of Karim or Uber or these kind of companies showing already the first examples when the experience is just the shopping experience. You take the taxi, you take the ride, and you get off. There's no payment, you don't spend time with that. That's part of the package. The same, the change in the shopping environment, and there are already shops around the world which are testing it, that why you need to go to a checkout machine and pay there, why can't you just put the things in your basket, and the basket and the products are connected, so when you go out, you can pay just by behavior. You bought the things and you walk out and you made a payment without going somewhere, unpacking your goods, handing over your card and pay. So connectivity enables us to integrate shopping experience and make payment as seamless. It just happens in the background. No extra hurdle, no extra problem. Of course, this brings the question of barriers. 1 minute left for me. So this brings the question of barriers. So these are nice trends that there will be 50 billion connected devices. Everyone will have 1, 2, 3 mobile phones and many other things. It's personal, so we can authenticate. But what makes it, this transition, still slow? 2 things. One is the fragmentation. So there is no still one technology, one manufacturer or one software. Still the world is using many different standards, many different phone devices, many different operating systems, many different applications and so on. So because we need to address all those, we want to have a payment solution for everyone, we need to develop always for all these operating services, all these mobile phones and other. The other are the many players. Of course, when you pay with a card, that's relatively easy. You have a relationship with your bank and with MasterCard. When you pay with your mobile, then you have a relationship with many players. The one who sold you the phone, the one who provides a SIM, the one who provides the operating system, so it can be Google, Samsung, Etisalat, or many players. That makes the transition longer because all these players need to get together and find joint solutions. So I would close with this, and of course in the panel discussion, happy to continue and give answers to your questions. Thank you very much.
Can anyone? Oh, yes, it's working. Thank you very much for your presentation. Of course, both gentlemen, we've got them here. When we've got about 15 minutes, I've got lots of questions, but I don't have a priority. You do. So if you please raise your hand, tell us your name, designation, and your question. Anybody? Yes, please.
Thank you for a good presentations. I have only one question for both. My name is Mohammed from Dubai Municipality IT Department. We talk about mobile. Where is the telecommunication part from the wallet Mr. Al-Gamzi talked about, His Excellency, and from Mr. Milano? Where is the telecommunication part of, we talk always about mobile, but you can pay through SIM card sometimes, isn't it? So where is from the wallet that is already going to the central bank for approval? Where is the part of telecommunication? I think they should play a role. And you mentioned also, Milano, Mr. Milano, you mentioned you are already, what the company you bought, you're already working with certain telecommunication. Why is not MasterCard working with telecommunication? Will make it easy for us to pay by experience, as we say.
Thank you.
ما ادري الصوت واضح؟ اخوي محمد اعتقد يمكن الاجوبه كانت موجوده في الكلام اللي انا قلته والبرزنتيشن اللي قالها، بس مثل ما قلت انت موضوع الثقافه والاويرنس والمعرفه والديماند. اليوم مثل ما ذكر مستر ميلان ان قواعد البيانات او السيستم فراجمنتد، they don't talk to each other. بس very soon they will start talk to each other. مثل ما ذكر السيرفيس بروفايدر بالنسبه للموبايلز يعتمد على الديماند. كلتشر اللي يمكن المجتمع اللي موجود عندنا حتى الان ما تطلب انهم يطورون يمكن بنيتهم التحتيه، اور they start connecting their خلينا نقول سيم كارد او الشرايح اللي موجوده عندهم to talk to the خلينا نقول الماستر كارد. الابل باي سيرفيس ما موجود عندنا، والمفروض ان السيرفيس بروفايدر مثل ما قلت انت انه يبتدي ستارت يقدم الخدمه هذه. فيري سون احنا وي بليف بيست على الديماند، على استخدام الافراد للوسائل هذه. اليوم احنا يمكن عندنا بيج ادفانتج، يمكن مجتمع دولة الامارات، مجتمع دبي بشكل خاص، مجتمع مطلع على تجارب الاخرين من خلال يمكن السفر، الترحال، من خلال الاخوه المقيمين اللي موجودين معنا، اللي تشوف التجارب اللي موجوده. مثل ما يعني ما ذكر مستر ميلان، انت اليوم مثلا في لندن او حتى في روسيا في كذا، انت تمشي بموبايلك and you pay. لكن اليوم السيرفيس بروفايدر need to think about الموبايل as a credit device. لازم يكون في الكريدت بي من وين؟ ما من اصحاب البطاقات، بي من البنوك، انت حسابي الشخصي. فقواعد بيانات وانظمه البنوك مع قواعد بيانات، خلينا نقول وانظمه الاتصالات مع مزودين الكريدت اللي يعطيك الكريدت، هذه كلها they will to start talking to each other. وده I think this is coming يعني very soon. الموضوع موضوع خلينا نقول تقدم او تطور ثقافه المستخدمين. ننظر قبل 10 سنين يمكن ما حد منا كان يتصور انه ممكن يستخدم جهاز التليفون للاستخدامات الحاليه. قبل والشفت اللي احنا قاعدين نلاحظه يمكن في مجتمعنا يمكن تقريبا كل 10 سنوات. اليوم انا عجبني مثال المطاعم، لان فور اكزامبل اذا انا مسافر او ادور مطعم فعلا اي لوك ات مثلا ستار او وهذا ريكومنديشن يمكن الولد اللي في جنريشن في 10 سنوات لا يشوف البيبل ريفيو، يمكن تبقى تدفع ستيل ويرلاي على الكاش والكريدت كارد، لكن يميلون على اولادنا على الجيل اللي يعني يستخدمون على طول الموضوع البيمنت ثرو ديت. سو اتس ماتر اوف تايم. موضوع ان متى ما مزودين الخدمه طبعا متى ما مزودين الخدمه شافوا ان هناك طلب لهذه الخدمات they will be forced to use the credit provider مع السيرفيس provider.
So around the world, there are very different solutions who is providing the new payment opportunity. So as I said in my last sentences, that the barrier is the fragmentation, that all these players somehow need to work together. So if you look around that in Kenya, it's a mobile operator is providing a mobile payment opportunity. In the US, it's Apple providing a payment opportunity. In some countries of Europe, mobile operators get together, they made an agreement, and they enable banks to provide payment opportunity on their devices. So there's no silver bullet and there's no final solution who will enable customers to make the mobile payment. Yes, connectivity is necessary, that's the mobile operators provide, but the wallet, the payment method, and the payment solution, who is providing, there is no obvious solution. It's country by country, it's an evolution, and it's a competition who will provide the best.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I please ask you to switch off and just before that, a comment to our Jay. The microphones are not working, I think these ones are not working. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the nice presentations. I'm Ashraf Abdelwahab from Microsoft. I have a couple of questions. First one to His Excellency, Mr. Sami. It's about SMEs mainly. How do you empower SMEs, for example, to move to the cloud, since you are talking about smart and intelligent economy? And maybe moving to the cloud is one way of reducing costs for SMEs to embark on the journey, and at the same time using new tools for increasing their competitiveness. So this is something maybe I would like to know about.
These are the two things that we keep working. Our tools start getting changed. When new generation has رواد الأعمال, the new generation رواد الأعمال can adopt these بطريقة سهلة. It's about incentive with awareness. I think this is my answer to you.
Yeah, okay, so I have another question to Mr. Milan about authentication and fraud, because of course it's very interesting to move into a supermarket and get out with your staff without putting your hand in your pocket. But at the same time, someone should know that it's you, it's not someone who stole your mobile, for example. So there shouldn't be some sort of authentication. And if there are some sort of standards that should be in place to mitigate risks and possibilities for, the electronic crimes that are running over all the universe, mainly for security and privacy. because now this kind of data, a wealth of data that are generated, and this data is not pertaining to the banks, for example, but it may be stored at your cloud or whatever cloud. So there should be some sort of a standard for security and privacy. Thank you.
Thank you. So there are two major phenomena going on. One is the regulatory, and one is the technology. The technology is very often bring solutions what the regulation is not yet able to adapt. So in many countries around the world, the regulation expects so-called two-factor authentication to make a payment. The technology with fingerprint reader, face scanner, iris scanner, and many others are enabling identification and verification on a much higher and much more secure way than a traditional PIN code and one-time password. The third trend is the youngsters, how they use these technology and how they use commerce. So about their feelings about privacy and authentication is very different than our generation or my father's generation. Which means that when you make a payment, when you make a ride with Karim and you don't approve the transaction, it's still fine for many people. So what we see that we are in the middle of a transition where regulators and card companies are worried about the risk and try to be very secure. The technology, every week there is some new way, a new technology to use to do authentication, and we need to adopt them very fast, or we need to enable many different kind of authentication. While in the past, everyone used a PIN code. The only difference was that in some countries it was 4-digit and some was 6. That was the only difference around the world, for 210 countries. Now you can do fingerprint scanner, this scanner. So there are many things, so we need to enable all the new technology to always adopt. While the people want less and less authentication. They just want, when they use their phone, you don't want, when you go to Facebook, wherever, you don't want to log in every time. You say, I'm using my own phone, let me access my own things. Don't ask me for username and password every time. So these three things, how they will evolve, I believe that in the future, what we will expect, that there will be a certain segments, everyday transaction, small value transaction, like contactless, where there won't be any authentication, nothing, just use, do it. And there will be some higher value, more risky transaction when there will be authentication. Most probably it will be some biometrics and less codes and less passwords. So that's the way forward, but as rightfully your question already showed, that there are so many things happening on this world that for us, regulators and payment companies or technology companies, we need to be, open-minded, or I don't know what word to use, to not to block technologies, because if we block technologies and we stay with very old stylish authentication, two-factor, one-time password, then the people and the merchants will find a better way, and they will do less secure, but that will be successful because the people will love that. So we need to find the right balance.
Thank you. I've got two requests for questions. The gentleman in the back, please.
Good morning. My name is Imad Khatib. I'm from Atlas Advisory. I know a lot of you here. Mr. Sami, good to see you again. It has been a while. And thank you for a very delightful information. I have two questions, one for MasterCard and one for Mr. Sami regarding the government. In any change, when we're moving to be smart, that means there is a positive and a negative impact on people's life. And smart cities has, in most cases, impacted life in both of these scenarios. And the mix of the culture that is available or in Dubai is very unique. It's different than any other city. because of the influx and the amount of people that, you know, where they come from an educational perspective, profession, etc. The positive impact, we know what it is. But from a change management perspective on these peoples, like the companies that they have to adopt to the smart city concept and the government, have there been any kind of tools or things that will impact the peoples who have or will their lives be impacted negatively? It depends, of course, when I'm talking about that, the people who has either going to impact their jobs because of the smart city concept, because we're trying to be more efficient and more effective in doing the jobs. That's for Mr. Sami. Can I go ahead with my next question?
If you can make it brief.
Okay. For the MasterCard, gentlemen, you have been using, or MasterCard has been in use for quite some time in terms of the digital, with Apple Pay and others. I'm sure there are other smart cities that it has been used in. Do you have any benchmarks or data that outline the risks or the impact, whether it's positive or negative, from that perspective? And what are the impacts on some of the financial institutions?
Thank you, and I'm hoping for 2 quick answers, please.
إذا أنا فهمت سؤالك، إن شاء الله تكون الإجابة جيدة. إذا فهمت سؤالك، الخوف من فقدان الوظائف نتيجة using أو moving toward the smart cities. أول شيء أنا أعتقد أن إحنا مثل ما ذكرت إحنا عندنا unique situation which I think إذا كان في adaption، لو كان في ratio للأدابشن أعتقد يمكن هذا الريشيوز عالي موجود عندنا. But the government أعتقد preparing the ground for the next generation, to be honest with you. There is a big still challenges في موضوع البيمنت، وخاصة بالنسبة للشركات والجفرمنت. يمكن الريشيو مال الاستخدام قليل comparing مع الاندفيدوالز. بالنسبة للشركات أعتقد الريجوليشنز الجفرنس تحتاج أنها to be developed. الخوف من losing الجوبز أو فقدان الوظائف، and I think this is always a challenge. But I think a role of each government and each economy is to keep creating jobs, and I think بيظل هذا الموضوع يعني مستمر. قطاعات اقتصادية كثيرة دخلت في، وقطاعات اقتصادية لاحظ ان انتهت وفقدت وظائفها، خلقت قطاعات اقتصادية جديدة خلقت معها وظائف. I'm sure يعني moving toward the smart city there will be a challenge but I don't think ان الريسك عالي في مسألة فقدان الجوب. I'm sure ان هالنوع من هذا القطاع الجديد will keep creating new jobs as well.
Thank you very much. Milan?
Thank you. Just briefly, I think the challenge is what was asked already is authentication. But we see that the financial losses, financial fraud coming from these kind of problems, authentication problems, is negligible. What is the big risk in the system is data, to protect the data, protect payment data, credentials, and so on. So what we addressed as an industry standard with tokenization is mainly addressing the data security. The authentication securities with fingerprint and others is managed well. And examples, so in the countries which are already very much ahead with contactless card payments, so Australia or Czech Republic or Canada, there the fraud coming from losing a card and abusing for this low amount is negligible. So everyone expected 5 years ago when the technology was launched that, oh, what if I lose my card and someone will use it? So the same question, what if I lose my phone? There is a fingerprint reader, so that protects it, but still. There is zero fraud in most of the countries coming from this problem. So I don't see that a side effect that the authentication is not a big problem of the payment industry. The data security is what we need to focus our efforts on.
Thank you very much. There was a question from the gentleman in the middle here.
Thank you. I don't have a question. I have just a comment. First of all, my boss is upset because he told me that I never told him about this event, but basically I took his approval first, just to make sure, Dr. Asha, everything is right. Secondly, I have just a comment on what Mr. Ashraf from Microsoft said. Now, as Mr. Milan mentioned in here, still we are in a physical world. Still we need to have a mobile. Still if you lose your mobile as if you lost your credit card or lost your actual money. But there is now lots of study when it comes to biotechnology, and one of those study about the squids. They found out that the squid DNA has a tendency of memorizing another pairing DNA. And I think in the coming future, you'll find mobiles will be equipped with those technology where immediately when you touch your phone, it will be unlocked, and because it's already locked or memorized your bio in it. So basically, there is no fear in that. I always push towards the technology, so every time anybody talks about tradition, I really feel very nervous. I always go with the technology. This is one thing. And yeah, be careful, huh? Please, huh? Be careful.
Good philosophy, good philosophy.
The second thing is,
Biometric phones are about to be available in the market.
no, not this biometric.
It's from the regulatory point of view.
No, this is not biometric as a biometric what we have in here. That a thumbnail and the, no, that's a totally different technology. Now the second thing is with the gentleman here from Atlas. Losing jobs is not an option for us in here. And if we look at the tradition, we used to have a job called Karani. A Karani is a person who writes on behalf of you. And that Karani is gone now, and something else came. So basically, inshallah, something else will come for this technology, so don't be fear of this. Thank you very much.
Just one.
Okay. I'm sure there are lots of comments, but we are mindful of the time. But Dr. Aisha has a comment.
I have one last comment here. Did any city claim that they are a cashless city? And if we want to claim that we want to be a cashless city, what is our roadmap to reach?
That's a very good question. If I can just follow it up with a comment. Milan talked about the index and that the UAE is ready. Number 7. I actually checked your website last night. You have a very interesting way of presenting this data, but I was not sure what's the difference between readiness, I know readiness as you define it, and the actual take-up. So we are ready, but are we utilizing that? And if you can highlight that, that'll be helpful. The word index is amazing. Anytime an academic hears the word index, we jump. So index is lovely.
Thank you. So there is no country or city yet which made cashless, but there are more and more shops and more initiatives on that. So for example, Denmark a couple of months ago announced that there is no more a legal requirement for shops to accept cash, which was already a big demand from many of the merchants because it was so rare that people used cash. Just to use a cash machine for that rare occasion was useless. So some countries make this, allow the market forces to enable cashlessness. So they say, okay, if you don't want to accept cash, then go without it. So that will be a slow transition. Some countries have roadmaps, typically it's 2020, 2025. The Nordic countries, Iceland and some Sweden and Denmark, which are the most advanced and have realistic chance to reach cashlessness in most of the countries. There was a funny anecdote that someone broke to a bank, wanted to rob a bank, and the people in the bank said that we don't have cash.
Can rob our mobiles.
What do you want to rob? He was some foreigner who saw that in Sweden people are rich, so in the bank there should be lots of cash. So we should have a roadmap how to make Dubai or how to make UAE cashless country. Now, I think we have many experience, so there are clear steps what we need to do. It will take years, so it's like in this 2020 something range, but there are clear steps how it can be done and how mobile and contactless and all the technology can help it.
تعليق بسيط انا عندي اول شيء على محمد شاعل. انا ما بغيتك بس تورطني بايفنت وانا توني راجع من الاجازه. That was only the reason. النقطة الثانية موضوع البرايفسي. I want to comment على نقطتين. موضوع البرايفسي والسكيورتي. موضوع السكيورتي ما عندنا worried about it. I think all the player will keep enhancing موضوع السكيورتي. You know, sometimes you lose your credit card and you realize the second or the third day But losing your mobile, you'll know at the same moment that you lost it, and you'll get crazy. And I think maybe carrying 2 mobiles just only to report that you lost. It will be very easy. I mean, report with service provider to disconnect the SIM card, or report the credit card user. And high data of your credits is there. The privacy, I think nobody's concerned about now. Khalas, there is no privacy, and I don't think there is a solution for the privacy, or data will be completely. And all the players are working خلينا نقول to take off our privacy. هذه منها. موضوع في قاعدة اقتصادية تقليدية، كل ما تطورت المجتمعات اقتصاديا كل ما قل استخدام النقد. هاي قاعدة موجودة. وموضوع هذا موضوع مرتبط بالثقافات. أنا مشهور إن إحنا we are going there. اليوم إحنا لما تروح أمريكا for example you pay بالكريدت كارد مالك 1 يعني $1 $3 هني تستحي تدفع بالبطاقة ب10 دراهم عيب. It's culture. I think it's coming.
Thank you very much. One last brief question, please.
Sorry. Thank you very much for really interesting presentations. My name is Rhys Rowland Jones. I'm Director of Academic Affairs at Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government. This is a general question, but in the context of seamless payment, there's a variety of forces that influence the choice of the customer in what they buy. But similarly, there are a variety of forces that influence the way that they pay in terms of the payment company that they use. MasterCard, Visa International, to name but two. So if you've got a variety of payment companies there, is there a unified approach by these payment companies to assist the development of the transaction? Or is it going to be another VHS and Betamax type of war of market share?
So we need to have standards. The standards are the common denominator across the card companies or the payment companies. And we compete beyond that. So the standards in the card business was the shape of the cards, an ISO standard, the card number, the chip height works. So now we also have standards, as I mentioned before, in tokenization, how transaction security should be guaranteed on the digital world. What is not standardized, how you interact with the merchant. As I said, it can be that you put your card deep in your card in a reader, whether that's NFC, whether that's Bluetooth, whether it's 3G, whether that's beacon. So there are hundreds of ways to interact between a merchant and a customer, and there are also hundreds of ways of authentication, which used to be a PIN, now can be, as you said, that your watch, your everything, your heartbeat, and that authenticates you. So there is competition there, and I don't think there will be a standard soon on that. What should be the authentication? The word is too rich. The technology is just too nice that we can put it in a silo. So no standard on that. There is standard on the basics. So how transaction credentials can flow in the cloud. There, the big companies agree. We issue a standard, and we believe that we hope that everyone will follow that, and that makes life easier. If there is, in the basics, there is standard, and there is then competition and evolution and revolution in everything what helps the user experience to be better.
Thank you very much, Milan. This actually brings us to the end of our session. We could go on for more, but we need to stick to time. I invite you all afterwards to enjoy refreshments outside and carry with the wonderful discussion. And I thank, of course, our audience online. Thank you very much for following. And thanks to Dr. Aisha for her presence and support, and for Smart Dubai Committee for cooperating with us on this session. Thank you all very much, and have a great afternoon.